like to call to order the Building Trades Board meeting for Thursday, January 27th. Can we get a roll call, please?
Joseph Blanchett.
Here.
Randy Beach.
Here.
Paul Here.
Here.
Mr. Coward is absent. Arthur Von Bulen.
Here.
Frank Dalton.
Here.
And Heidi is also absent. That concludes the roll call.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to have a disclosure of ex parte communications if anyone has discussed the case prior to the meeting tonight. Let the record show there is none. Everybody has a packet of the minutes from the prior meeting from October 28th, 2021. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Yeah, I move to adopt the minutes from the last meeting as written.
And a second?
Second it.
All the minutes will be approved.
Okay, let's have
as
our
written.
vote.
Oh.
Mr. Blanchett.
Aye.
Randy Beach.
Aye.
Paul Here.
Aye.
Mr. Coward's absent. Arthur Von Bulen.
Yay.
Frank doesn't vote.
Aye.
That is all in favor.
All in favor? Can we swear in the city staff, please?
Please stand and raise your right hand. State your full name. In the matter to which you are about to give testimony, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes. The witnesses have been sworn in.
All right, we have 3 cases of old business. The first one will be case BLD 000-002-2021, Ethel Lee Peoples Estate, care of Johnny Peoples, 512 North Myrtle Avenue.
Okay, the property at 512 North Myrtle Avenue was presented at the last hearing on October 23rd, 2021. And the board continued the hearing until today to give the property owner time to get back with the building department with either engineered drawings or a plan of what he planned to do to either put a roof on the garage or let him know if it was structurally able to be done or if the garage needed to be demolished. As the last I've heard, he has not been in contact with anyone in the building department. I do believe he is here today, so I guess we can maybe have him give us an update, and then maybe Steve or Gary can make a determination of the next step.
Mr. Peoples, you want to talk about your case?
I don't believe he was sworn in.
Okay. You need to be sworn in.
Please stand and raise your right hand. State your full name.
Johnny L. Peoples.
In the matter to which you are about to give testimony, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
The witness has been sworn in.
Questions, or you just want me to state what my position is at this time?
Okay, the code enforcement said that you haven't been in contact at all with the building department. And
I didn't
we'd like
know
to get
that
an
it
update.
was, when I received the letter, as far as the certified letter was concerned, I thought my position was to show here and state what had been done. I didn't realize that it was supposed to be a continuation of me contacting them on each move that I make. It's a limited amount of what I can share and what I can do, other than I went in pursuit of a couple of companies that could come out and do an inspection of the existing. I think I left this drawing with you the last time. I saw the building. It doesn't show up close the infraction, which is a crack on the northeast corner of that existing structure. I didn't see where I could go ahead and do anything until that was an evaluation according to what your assessments were at the previous meeting. So what I did, I was able to call a lot of the companies that are listed, only take care of not residential, but they take care of other commodities. I did find and got an appointment with this company here that you may be familiar with, M&S Structural. They gave me an appointment of 2/28/22. In other words, March of this year, this is the earliest that they can come out and do an assessment. I'm waiting to hear back from EMA Structural Company, which they have 2 locations, Orlando and Daytona. I have not heard back from them. Florida Foundation Authority gave me an assessment, but apparently one word was left out of the evaluation that they did. And I think someone here said that it didn't say that the structure was sound. They assessed the crack, but the adjuster assured me that the structure is sound. So I'm catch-22 here. I'm being pulled by both legs until I can get a confirmation from one of these other structural assessment groups. That's how I stand. I have nothing more that I can say about it other than what I've said.
Okay, well, this case has been going on now since April of last year,
Yes.
and it just seems like we're really not making any progress on, I would see that you've pretty much had the area cleaned up and whatnot and posted, but we just need to make some progress on, getting getting the necessary permits to rehab the building or decide if we're going to tear it down or not. So I guess I assume it's just still your intention to try to save the building and refurbish it?
That's my overall intent. Someone on the board said that they didn't see where it would be productive for me to invest that amount of money. Well, I haven't got the final assessment from any one of these companies. If it's too high for me to do or to bear, then I'll demo the structure. But I'm afraid to do anything to the structure or whatever because nothing's been assessed. If I try to go back and do anything now to the building, then you guys would probably cite me for unauthorized work on a non-permitted structure. I don't know.
Well, at the last meeting that you were at, where we continued this till January,
Yes, sir.
what we requested at that time was something from the previous guy who assessed this crack. He was supposed to supply you with some type of certification that could be load-bearing. Otherwise, you would have had to do something with the slab, if I recall correctly. So that was October.
Yeah, the last
And now
meeting.
you're trying to move it to March, and will be a year with no progress at all being made because we're still waiting for some certification presented by one of your engineers that says, contrary to our assessment, that this building is construction worthy and load-bearing enough that you should repair. I believe that's a discussion we had at the last meeting.
Yes, sir.
So, I don't know who you had do that drawing that you presented to us to look at, but he was supposed to supply you with some sort of certification about the load bearing, is what we were under the impression of. So is there any chance you can get something from this gentleman before the end of February that certifies that it's at least worthy of, or it can at least load bear any repairs to it?
I will recontact them this week. If it's possible for me to get that same engineer to give us something in writing, so we'll know whether we demo this or go on further. Then I have the other assessment that's supposed to be coming too, so I should have two by maybe, hopefully the next meeting. Well, the other one, I don't know, but I'll get back with Florida Foundation Authority.
Yeah, well, whoever did the assessment for you and
Yeah, that was
allegedly
a,
just looked at the crack over the header,
no, he did the whole structure.
that's what I was under the impression, that he did the whole structure, but
Yeah, but
he
I
only
think,
commented on that crack, so.
yeah,
I mean, Mr. Peoples, we understand your desire to rehab this structure, but I think the reality, it would be far cheaper to demolish it than it would be to rehabilitate it. So if it's a budget consideration, if that's like the number one priority to you, or if it even can be rebuilt, I think that's what you're trying to determine with the engineering report. You know, if the money spent doesn't matter, then, you know, as long as the building is secure, then I guess, I don't know if it's all right, but, you know, if you're looking at saving money or something, demolishing it is going to be far cheaper than rebuilding it. You know, I don't think the board really wants to have cases come before it, you know, month after month after month and, you know, not have anything happen. And, you know, basically we had 3 months, you know, here from the previous meeting, and, well, there's, you know, no progress, which isn't really a step in the right direction. I mean, Gary, do you have any input for this?
The board. We went there just today and we looked at it. We took a pretty good look around the property, and Mr. Peoples, we're starting to note a lot of damages on the homes from not for setting vacant. There's starting to be some collapse on the porches and stuff too. So I mean, there's more and more work that has to be done to the structure. I would recommend that we give them 1 more month, but I would recommend an order for demo, maybe starting like March 30th or March, you know, maybe the end of March. If he doesn't have the report in, then we begin demo on the end of March, because we just can't keep coming back on this case. We gave you pretty much a fair time. I would love you to try to save this. I mean, but I have to have something going. I mean, has 1.5 feet of debris inside this garage. I mean, the garage is nice, but at no means is it, you can see what's still standing there. So, I mean, it is eroding, it's potentially rodent infested, it needs work. I mean, it's just not good for that neighbor. They're building a new house right next to it. I'm getting some complaints from that direction, so, that's what would be my recommendation. We give him a month if he gets a permit or something in a month, or an engineering report. We could possibly stall it, but I would recommend that we, at maybe the last day of March, whatever it is, March 30th, 31st, but on that last day of March, we start the demo process.
Cindy, when is the next meeting scheduled for?
24th.
February 24th is the next meeting, and then March 24th.
And he was saying, when did you say you were going to have your report?
I can his evaluation is. The other report, CNS, I think it is, in Almond Beach, gave me an inspection date and appointment for February 27th.
That's after our meeting, that's the reason I went to the end of March, because I was just a little concerned about that, and it would be entirely up to the board, but like I said, it's not getting any better. There is a lot of potential hazard there. It's a strong mildew smell, there's rags, rotten wood and everything inside the garage. You have a new home being built right next to it, it's just nothing but an issue. We have it just protected with orange safety fence. You still have some issue of collapsing near some of the doors and stuff like that. It's just not the best situation.
All right, do you want to continue it then for the 60 days or till the March 24th meeting?
Well, Mr. Peoples, say if we gave you 30 days to get an engineering report to submit to the building department, and say you do get that, and the engineer does say that it's worth saving, that we can do it, are you prepared to move right away to rehab this building if the engineers say it's feasible?
Yes, we can go ahead and, the unsightliness of that, of course, that has nothing to do with the structure. I can see the eyesore from the standpoint of, I won't say just the new home next door, the neighborhood. We can go ahead and get that cleaned up to make it more sightly in the process of getting the engineering report. And that way, I can be fat, dumb, and happy, and everybody else can too. Since I don't live here, I can make sure that something happens.
And we just want to make sure that if we do give you the 30 days and you do get the engineering report, that something is going to move rather quickly to get this rectified after you get your engineering report.
I didn't know that I had to, but I will go ahead and keep these people posted, even if it's before the meeting, so everybody knows what's happening. If I get a report, I can validate that and make sure you get a copy of it to see where I am, and I'm not just standing still in water.
But we have to bring an end to this, okay?
I understand that.
Okay, and if it's not done in a certain period, we need to start another action. And I just want the board to start this, because I don't want to be doing this another 3 months from now or 4 months from now. I mean, we need to start something, we need action.
Can we stipulate conditions in a motion?
Sure.
Like condemnation if there is no whatever you call it, written.
Okay, so I'll make a
written-
motion to give Mr. People another 30 days till the next board meeting to submit engineered findings on this building. And if not, we will condemn the building at that point and authorize the city to tear it down.
I've got one
A
other
second.
thing.
I'll
if I could.
second it.
Pardon me?
We had a
Arthur said
here.
second?
Can we get a vote then?
Yes. Joseph Blanchett,
Aye.
Randy Beach,
Aye.
Paul Here,
Aye.
Arthur Von Bulen.
Aye.
Motion carries.
I know you've made your decision. Can I say one thing? If I'm only able to get the report from the company that I said has given me a date, that's going to be a day or two after your meeting. So conclusively, you're saying I don't stand a chance in hell to go ahead and move it.
Maybe you can
One
put some
day.
pressure on them and say, look, I've got a meeting that I have to have this by.
Okay.
Well, you also have the previous Florida Foundation or whoever you quoted.
We're gonna.
If they can provide you with an actual certification, that is, then we can take it from there at the next meeting. But
Okay.
if we postpone it to March and then postpone again, it's a full year and no action's been taken.
I understand.
And Mr. People, while you're saying here also, we find a lot more damage to the front porch. The front porch of the structure is getting worse and worse, and it's nearing some subsidence on the front porch. You got all your oh, your sill plates are getting ready to fill, your windows are starting to collapse in on the front porch. If you look at the pictures just during the course of the period here, you can see a lot of settlement or a lot of issues. You can see them circle that. So, I mean, there's some other maintenance that has to be done on this house at some time in the near future too.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. But this particular issue is concerning the issue in the garage, correct?
Yeah, this is just a garage, but I'm just
I understand.
putting you on
Yeah,
record
aware.
that there's
Yeah.
some other places that money needs to go in for this house
Yeah.
to keep this whole house up.
Yeah, it's obvious, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Mr. Peoples. Have a
Yeah,
nice
and
evening.
thank you for showing up at the meetings, so that in itself is a positive.
All right, then, the next case, BTB 2020-19472, Betty McGurty Graham and Trayvon A. Guzmore, 326 Palm Street.
Okay, 326 Palm Street. The board continued this case until today for staff to give an update of the progress of the roof. There was a roof permit that was issued. To date, the permit has actually expired. It expired on the 18th of January. No work has been completed. There are roofing materials on site, but nothing has been done. And I believe the permit, like I said, it expired and it has not been renewed or no contact with the building department. And this property was posted on November 2nd with the board order, and it was also mailed certified mail.
There's no owners here to represent this property, so, Gary, do you have any?
Steve's gonna present this one.
Good evening, gentlemen. Steve Woodworth, Deputy Building Official. I've made several inspections of this property, though I've never entered the property inside the house. As you can see from displayed on these pictures, the roof, it's in terrible distress and it needed replacing years ago. Based on that, I can only assume that the water damage has been substantial inside the structure. Again, since all the windows are boarded, you can't see the condition of the rafters or the ceiling, but just based on the buckling and caving on the outside, it would need substantial repair. It could be rehabbed. We talked about rehabbing it with the property owner. We've, issued permits. It's just nothing's gone on. So while I do feel bad condemning the house and tearing it down because I think it's salvageable, that would be staff recommendation at this point. If they're not gonna fix it, it's just as well taken down and they could have a nice clear lot to build a new house.
When was the last time that you had any contact with the owners personally, or the building department?
Approximately 6 or 7 months ago, we issued that permit and they were to provide us with some kind of, were we gonna get an engineer or somebody needed to redesign the repair for the rafters? And we haven't received anything to that point. But again, we issued a permit for the roof repair. No follow-up has taken place.
And they do have shingles there for it, right?
Right.
They got no plywood.
There
for
is a pallet of shingles. Unfortunately, it's just gonna take more than shingle replacement.
How
And-
long has the shingles been there? Do you have any idea?
They showed up last Friday, sir. And again, there's holes in the wall. I can't imagine that, given the amount of rotten mildew visible from the outside, I assume it would be like that on the inside as well.
When did the permit expire?
The 18th of January this year,
Okay.
so just
So-
recently.
Right.
Did anybody accept the certified letter for the board meeting? For that address?
The certified mail was returned to the city as unclaimed. But I do have a picture of the posting here that I'll submit.
Right.
Rick?
So this house hasn't been condemned yet.
No, sir, it has not. That would be your or your prerogative this evening.
Right. So I say we condemn the building and give them 30 days to, they'd have to come into the building department and, what, resubmit for another roof permit, or would they, can they renew the existing one?
It's been our understanding, if I give them another permit, they get another 6 months. Okay, and typically if they have any kind of action, or if they've done anything, I would typically have no problem reissuing a permit. But in this case, all it would be is another stall, potential stall for another 6 months. So, I mean, there is potential for collapse in this roof. We do have a lot of major issues with this building. There's a lot of safety hazards. You can see there's access. Kids can get into the building. She typically has kept in the past really good contact with me, but I've lost all contact with her. I've not been contacted at all.
Okay.
Can the building department or the code enforcement board overrule a trades board condemnation and just like uncondemn it, if that's a word? No? Okay. So if we vote for condemnation, then the only way you could uncondemn it is if it came before the board again, or does it automatically never come before the board once it's condemned? And I don't think we've ever had a situation like that
I
before.
believe once you condemn it, it's in a state of condemn.
Unless they put him for some court stay, that you just continue with.
Can you be sure and talk into the microphone?
Oh, yeah, I was just saying that, and I'm sure the attorney can back me on this, that unless there was a court stay appointed, then it would still be condemned, and they would proceed with that. But I know it sounds like a silly question, but does anybody know if this person is deceased?
No, sir.
Because as you said, she had been in contact.
She was in
And then-
consistent contact with me, yes, sir.
And then unclaimed at the post office for certified.
Yes.
I mean, the only thing they show on a receipt at the post office is a zip code where it came from, and possibly it might say the city on it. But other than that, they wouldn't know what the contents were of it, and it cost them nothing to see it.
And we, like I said, and Barb has posted it, we haven't had any communication after posting. So we have no contact with this owner.
I would say that someone has been around the property. The posting has been removed. I was over there this morning. So the posting was removed from the property. I doubt whoever delivered the shingles removed it, so there's been someone around the property.
Apparently so, coincidentally with the date of the hearing.
Well, I don't know when it was removed. I just know I was over there this morning, because I always go to the sites the day of or the day before. And when I was there this morning, the posting was removed, so it could have been removed weeks ago.
No.
We seen the posting this morning.
Can we get a motion then on this case?
Well, I'll make an emotion that we condemn the building and give the owners 30 days to reapply or have the existing permit renewed, and authorize the city to demolish the building if nobody appears or renews the permit
From 30 days from
for
today.
30 days.
And a second.
I'll second that.
And a
Joseph?
vote on the motion?
Joseph,
Aye.
Randy Beach,
Aye.
Paul Here,
Aye.
Arthur Van Buren.
Aye.
The motion carries.
All right, the next case, BTB 2020-19473, Carol Maxine Baker, 512 North Dust Street.
This property actually complied with everything that the building department had requested. So I believe there's been final inspections and everything at the property, and this property is now in compliance.
That's fantastic. That doesn't happen too often, actually.
So now I'm making a motion that we close this case.
And a second?
I'll second it.
Okay,
And a vote?
all right. Joseph Blanchett,
Aye.
Randy Beach,
Aye.
Paul here,
Aye.
Arthur Van Bulen.
Gladly, aye.
Thank you.
All right. New business, BLD 000007-2022, Elizabeth Shesky, 841 Cavito Street.
Okay, so this property is located at 841 Cavito Street. It is also in the inter-service boundary agreement district between the city of New Smyrna and Volusia County. So it's actually a Volusia County property. This came before code enforcement in July. On the 8th of July, code enforcement received a complaint regarding the condition of the property. There was just trash and debris all over the place and just people camping in tents and all kinds of stuff going on there. So we had we took the property owner to a special magistrate hearing on August 25th, 2021. They were given a compliance date of September 10th, 2021, and in the event that they did not comply, a $50 per day fine would be imposed at the next hearing on September 22nd, 2021. In late August, there was a fire at this home. So we did not, of course, take it back to the code enforcement board or the special magistrate hearing, basically because there was a fire. The front structure is pretty much destroyed, and there's several other structures on the property. We can't get good view of them, but some of the pictures that we can get, you can see there's cracks in the blue building. There's another building out there that looks like part of the shed is, the roof is missing, and there's just a lot of issues going on at this property. So we discussed it with Gary and Steve and recommended that we bring it to the next building trade board. So on December 22nd, 2021, after discussing it with Gary and Steve, we did a notice of condemnation and a notice of hearing. It was mailed, certified mail, and the property was also posted. I also completed an affidavit of posting, and it's part of the case file. That was completed on 12/23. The mailing was done on 12/22, and the property was also posted on 12/22/2021. The certified mail was accepted on 12/24/2021 at 9:47 a.m. The name is not really legible. So as of today, there's been no changes to the property. No one has been into the building department to submit any kind of permits for either removing structures, repairing structures, or as far as I know, they've had no contact with the building department at all. No contact with us when we've gone over to take pictures and stuff. They just wave at us like, get out of here. And since we've done this, she's actually posted a no trespassing. So we have, the pictures we have are all from the street, or there's a neighbor that actually allowed us access to their property so we could get the pictures of the back structures. So my recommendation is that the property be condemned, but that's basically it. Steve and Gary finding.
Good evening, Steve Woodworth, Deputy Building Official. This case is kind of strange in that there's 3 structures on this property, and while I have not entered any of them from the public right-of-way, none of them would appear to be habitable. We'll start with the mobile home structure. As Barb mentioned, there was recently a fire, and you know, a good portion of the building is now gone, and what remains standing does pose a danger of collapse. I am not at all convinced that it is all salvageable. It seems obvious that it should be removed. There is a concrete block building, light blue in color, towards the center of the lot. And as the pictures scroll through here, it'll appear in the center of the screen, and it has large step cracks down one wall, which would indicate right here, if you could pause that, please. Blow up on that center one if you could, but it would indicate that there is a structural failure at the foundation level and the back of the building is separating from the front. That is really quite a large gap. It's a couple inches. So again, property appraiser shows that building as a garage. I don't know if it's been converted to habitable space or not, but it has suffered some major structural defect. Lastly, there is like a small shed outbuilding towards the south of the property. It's got holes in the walls that are visible from the road. It's not well maintained, and again, I don't think that it would be safe for habitation. So given that, staff recommends removing all three of these structures, or at very minimum, if the property owner would like to rehab any of the other block building or that shed building that's on the screen now, safe off the area with some fencing. I guess they have posted it against trespassing, remove the debris from the yard, and remove the mobile home. The property right now, it's just blighted, and it's not fair to the neighbors to have all that stuff outside their windows. Property owners' rights still to be considered, but I don't feel any of those structures are safe for habitation. Happy to answer any questions y'all might have.
Was there, forgive me, Barbara. Steve, but she had mentioned something in regards to it's also Volusia County?
Yes, we have an inter-service boundary agreement with Volusia County.
Does that allow us to proceed
Yes.
with that in this
Yes,
instance?
that allows us to be able to do what we need to do.
I didn't want to step on the county's
Right, we just have to follow county code.
Would a condemnation order be for all the buildings or just for the mobile home?
That would be at the decision of the board.
And I noticed different addresses on here when the 841 was the only one mentioned. It was like 840.
Again, 841 is the only address given, and there is 3 structures on this lot. Which one is actually 841? I don't know, sir.
The 845 that you see on the photo, that is because I was standing in the neighbor's yard, and it picks up the address where we're standing.
Okay.
So the 845 is from the neighbor's yard. It's not part of that address. From what I can tell from the property appraiser website, that entire lot is 841.
Okay. Does a condemnation order get attached to an address or to a building?
I think, so it would run with the land, but I think for purposes of this guy, there's no ability for rehab, right? I would want the orders to specifically identify the mobile home structure. Can you tell what the other ones are?
There's the mobile home structure. There was a concrete block structure that the appraiser's office has as a garage. And then there's this shed type outbuilding or storage building, if you will.
I mean, all the buildings look to be in disrepair.
All the buildings have some major structural flaw or defect.
So it could just say all the structures located on 841 Covito Street?
So that's,
Is that correct?
a condemnation order should include all 3 buildings.
And I guess there's still water and power supplied to these buildings, do you know, or?
Do you? I don't.
There's no power to the buildings. I believe the day of the fire, if not before, the power had been turned off.
Can we get a motion for some type of action on this case?
I'll make an motion that we condemn all 3 structures at this address and give the owners 30 days to appear to the building department with some form of plans to take care of this property or authorize the building department to tear it down.
And a second?
I have one more question before we proceed, if I may. Do we have COs on any of the structures on that property, or no?
No, sir.
No? So,
None that I'm aware of. If Volusia County had issued any at any date, I don't have that information, nothing from New Smyrna Beach, sir.
okay, thank you.
I believe Randy had a second on that case. Can we get a roll call then?
Randy was the second.
Yes.
Yep.
Joseph Blanchett,
Aye.
Randy Beach. Aye. Paul Here,
Aye.
Arthur Van Bulen.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Didn't mean to jump in there too quick, Randy.
That's a good question, actually.
So that-
Do we have any comments on past cases or updates or anything? All right. Well, can we get a motion to adjourn?
One thing real
Oh,
quick. I tried sending emails to everyone to give you the agendas, and we would like to plan on doing that going forward. I do want to have feedback from everybody about whether you get it or if there's a problem with it. For sure, when you receive them, I would like to hear from you. That way I know for sure you got it, because clearly if you didn't know I sent it, you can't tell me you didn't get it. I do try and plan on getting these out roughly 10 days before the hearing so that there's plenty of time for everybody to have an opportunity to look at your information. If we continue to have problems with being able to get the emails or get the information out, we'll revisit how we distribute this packet. That's all.
Okay. A motion to adjourn?
Actually, the meeting can be adjourned by the chair. You don't have to have a motion.
Okay, well, I'm going to adjourn it. Well, the meeting is done.